Quick, think of a Pokemon's name. Any Pokemon name. It doesn't matter.
Charizard.
Did you think of one? Great. Save it. We're going to save that question for later. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and biscuits. My name is Lazy Biscuit, host of the Lazy Biscuit YouTube channel. Pokemon. As a kid, I always feared I would outgrow you as a kid. It was one of my greatest fears at the time. Well, that and the piano from Super Mario 64. But thankfully that never happened. In fact, I still got this shirt that I wore when I was a little kid. It still fits, it's just a little tight. Now going back to that Pokemon question, which Pokemon did you say? You might have said a Pokemon name from the classic 150, Squirtle, Ivysaur, Charizard, or maybe you said one of the more recent Pokemon, Greninja, Incineroar, Decidueye, but you know who I said? Quillfish. What? You mean to tell me you don't know about the amazing, wonderful, legendary Pokemon Quillfish? Well, that's exactly what these two videos are about. That's right, folks. This video is going to be a two-parter. One video is going to be discussing the top 5 most underrated Pokemon, and the other one will be discussing about the top 5 forgotten Pokemon. Now I know what you're thinking. Why 5? Well, if you watch them back to back, it technically makes a top 10 video, so there's that. And also, I'm making these videos because Pokemon is becoming more mainstream like it was back in the day. What with the release of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, a Detective Pikachu movie coming out next year, and Pokemon Go getting some major updates. It really brought me back into the craze of Pokemon that I felt when I was a little kid. So I launched up my old game Pokemon Moon and started playing it again. But the more I kept playing, the more I thought. There's like 8 bajillion Pokemon now. Some of them are bound to be forgotten or overshadowed by other Pokemon. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in these two videos. I'm going to explain to you why these 5 Pokemon shouldn't be underrated or forgotten. So with that all out of the way, let's cut the chit chat and get started with the top 5 most underrated Pokemon and why they shouldn't be underrated. Number 5, Seel and Mareep. Now it's obvious that a lot of Pokemon are based off of animals. I mean, Donphan is an elephant, Greninja's a frog. Heck, Pikachu is defined as the electric mouse Pokemon. But with Seel and Mareep, they are based off of animals. I mean, Seel's based off of seal, Mareep is based off of sheep. It's kind of in their name. But the problem is, they're not the best of designs. Now, I'm not one to knock on Pokemon's design. I mean, we have a Pokemon that's literally a floating keychain. But with Seel and Mareep, they're literally just animals with superpowers. And what I mean by this is, you know, Donphan is an elephant, right? But he looks like a cool looking elephant. He's all like armored up and tough. He can roll into a ball and, you know, just get out of here. Real elephants don't do that. But with Seel and Mareep, they're just, well, animals. I mean, look at Mareep. It's literally just a sheep that can shoot electric bolts. But here's a reason they shouldn't be underrated. They evolved into much, much stronger Pokemon, and some of the most favorite Pokemon of other people, Dugong and Ampharos. And you know what? It's actually easier to catch a Seel and Mareep and evolve them into these strong Pokemon than just wandering around trying to catch these evolved form of the Pokemon. Number 4, Frostlass, a ghost ice-type Pokemon. In fact, it's the only ghost ice-type Pokemon, which is a reason it shouldn't be forgotten. But the reason it's underrated is because it's overshadowed by Snowrunt's other evolution, Glalie. And he's really creepy. But we shouldn't forget Frostlass. I mean, like I said, it's the only ghost ice-type Pokemon, and ice is a very rare typing in Pokemon. But Frostlass is one of the strongest ice-type Pokemon. Its Pokédex says it can freeze anything under 60 degrees. Now that's cold. And just look at it. It's got a cool design. It's exactly what you would think of a ghost ice-type Pokemon. Number 3, Toxicroak. Man, Toxicroak. He used to be one of my favorite Pokemon back when Gen 4 came out. And for good reason too. Look at this guy. He's toxic fighting. He can poison anything with the good old 1-2, 1-2. But the reason he's underrated is because there's another frog-type Pokemon, Greninja, a water dark-type Pokemon. Now, here's the thing. Pokemon loves to, you know, give more love to Greninja, which kind of makes sense. He does evolve from Froakie, which is a starter Pokemon, and Ash did have his own Greninja. And with Toxicroak, the only reason people really remember him is because Brock had a Krogunk, but it wasn't a Toxicroak. Here's why we shouldn't underrate Toxicroak, though. Look at him. Look at him. He's a toxic fighting Pokemon. What would you rather have? A Ninja Frog? Or a frog that can literally poison anything by literally punching it in the face. That is awesome. I want that superpower. Number 2, baby Pokemon. What sick man sends babies to fight me? That's the exact reason they're underrated. They're babies. They're literally called baby Pokemon. You know, Magby, Elekid. These are little versions of Pokemon of the big versions. Nobody wants to have a baby on their team because, you know, babies are pretty weak. They're not known for fighting, they're known for being adorable, which is one of the reasons why we shouldn't underrate them. I mean, yeah, they can't fight, but they're adorable. And that's actually really helpful in Pokemon, you know, pageants. They're so adorable, and winning these little competitions and pageants gives you that extra sweet, sweet moolah. Plus, it's the same reason with Seal and Mareep. It's easier to catch these little baby Pokemon and evolve them into the bigger Pokemon rather than just going out of your way to catch the big Pokemon. Now, before we get into number 1, guess which Pokemon is the number 1 most underrated Pokemon down in the comments below. Did you guess? Alright, the number 1 most underrated Pokemon is Quillfish. Now, Quillfish is a real tricky Pokemon for saying why he's underrated. He doesn't have an evolution that can overshadow him. He's got a pretty cool design. He's based off of a pufferfish, which is the reasoning of both him being water toxic. And fun fact, pufferfish are actually both venomous and toxic. And being water poison, you know, is actually a pretty cool typing, because with poison typing, he can deal damage over time, but with that water typing, he can use his offensive water attacks to also, you know, attack. So why is he an underrated Pokemon? Well, my friends, Quillfish is the perfect example of a Pokemon that is underrated because there is just so many gosh darn other Pokemon that you can have in your team. And being from Generation 2 doesn't help his case much either, because a lot of Gen 2 and Gen 3 Pokemon are highly underrated or completely forgotten. But we shouldn't forget this little guy, because he's water poison, he's freaking cool looking, and he's a pufferfish. Just look at this guy. He's green and he's grumpy and kinda looks like a certain friend of mine. I don't know which one though. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's oh gosh, what was his name? Nah, I'm sure it'll pop up somewhere. Well, my friends, that is it. The top 5 most underrated Pokemon. These are all either from actual factual evidence or based on my own opinion. But I'd love to see what you think your top 5 most underrated Pokemon is. Answer that down in the comments below. And stay tuned, folks, for the top 5 forgotten Pokemon. In the meantime, I'm gonna go back playing some Pokemon Moon. I just caught a Ghastly, and I am so excited to evolve it into a Gengar. Someone said they're gonna trade it with me. I'm so excited. I just hope it isn't like that woman in the Generation 4 game where she had that stone that doesn't make her hunter evolve. Curse you! I will seek my revenge on you, woman who I forgot the name of because it was so long ago that I played that game. Bye-bye, Biscuits!